We got breaking news that may force Howie Roseman to make the trade we've all been waiting for. Dallas still stinks. With the way, kick Dingbat here, and we got breaking news, breaking butter humping news. And this news, this is a little bit surprising, but kind of not surprising in that something didn't seem right with Nolan Smith this year. The way he came out this year, the Eagles have only had 3 sacks all year, and Nolan Smith hasn't been one of them. A guy who was getting, sacks in every game in the playoffs. He looked still hurt to me. And many of you other guys out there, you have said the same thing. He doesn't look right. He looks like he's playing hurt. Well, you might be right, because the Eagles have just announced this. Get this. They said, we have signed safety Marcus Epps, tight end Cam Latu, cornerback Perry Nickerson to the active roster and placed cornerback Jacorian Bennett, wide receiver Darius Cooper, and outside linebacker Nolan Smith on injured reserve. We also signed Lance Dixon, defensive back Eli Ricks, and I won't catch anything, Quez Watkins to the practice squad. So, Jacorian Bennett, we heard that he was injured. We didn't know how much. Darius Cooper, it's a shame he got hurt, but he'll be back, and he's not contributing all that much right now. But Nolan Smith, to me, is a bit of a big deal, okay? It's a bit of a big deal because Nolan Smith, we need him to get going. We need these edge rushers to start getting home, okay? Jeff McClain wrote this. Nolan Smith, Jacorian Bennett, and Darius Cooper's injuries do not require surgery. Pound Eagles hope that they return in time for the Week 9 bye. So we're talking about they're not going to be around for another 6-7 games. These guys are out. You're talking about getting them back Week 10, where we'll see them on the field. Then you get a guy like Nolan Smith back let's say Week 10, where how ready is he going to be to play? It's going to take him a while to reacclimate to playing, right? Dave Zangaro also wrote this, kind of the same thing that Jeff McClain said. The Eagles have placed outside linebacker Nolan Smith, Jacorian Bennett, and Darius Cooper on IR. My understanding is these injuries do not require surgery. The players could return around the bye week. So we're talking a thin edge rushing unit where you had to go out and get Zadarius Smith. And when I say thin, I know that they've been, having guys like Azeez Ojulari healthy scratches, but like quality guys that can go out there and play. I think the Nolan Smith loss could be big. And I think it could also force Howie Roseman's hand to have to go out and do something at the edge rusher position. There's been a lot of speculation. There were a few articles talking about that Howie could look to add another corner. I think that right now, if you're looking at where you're going to try to trade and what you're going to try to go and get, that you have to go pass rusher. You have to go pass rusher because you're not getting home already with what you have. And that's when Nolan Smith was playing. Zadarius Smith, I didn't even notice him in that Rams game. He looked great versus Kansas City, but he was non-existent. Now you're banking on Zadarius Smith and Jalix Hunt, really, right? You'll have Shea, you'll have Azeez Ojulari. They'll be rotating in, but I don't know how effective they are. So the Eagles are going to have to look at possibly doing something at the edge rusher position. I don't think this is a luxury type trade anymore. I think you got to go out and get somebody. You're not going to have Nolan Smith for quite a while, okay? And this is a big disadvantage for the Eagles at the edge rusher position. You need to bolster it, okay? Now, there are many ways that they can do it. One of the ways that the Eagles actually could do this, right? Maybe this would work. Maybe it wouldn't. We don't know. But one of the things that they may be looking to do is say, well, we're going to get Nakobe Dean back hopefully soon. do we get Jihad Campbell and put him at edge and let him start primarily being an edge rusher? Can he do that? Now, I personally think he can, but is that something that you want to do with him this year, or do you want to just have him concentrate on one position? That is something that the Eagles are going to have to figure out. That may be one way to do it in-house, because I don't think the guys that you have on the roster, besides Zadarius Smith, Hunt, I don't think they're good enough. I don't think they're good enough yet. Okay, at least nobody has showed us, and Jalen Hunt has to be better himself. I think the Eagles desperately need an edge rusher. They need to go out, and I think that Howie Roseman, if he was looking at a cornerback, and maybe he'll still look for one, but I think more than anything, I think he's got to get an edge rusher before anything else. That's just how I feel. Now, the Eagles are playing Tampa Bay this week. They have a chance to go 4-0. Let me show you guys a little bit of what I think is going to happen, even despite the injuries we've had. Check out this quick word from our sponsor. Now would be a great time to talk about our new sponsor, ProfitX. ProfitX is the ultimate sports prediction market. Join thrilling sweepstakes to make peer-to-peer plays with fellow fans. Set your own odds for bigger payouts. All legal in 40 states. Outsmart your friends. Elevate your game with ProfitX. All you got to do is use promo code Philly500 at the sign-up to get up to $200 in ProfitX cash. That's $200 in ProfitX cash. All you have to do is use promo code Philly500. Must be of legal age. Void where prohibited. Start now at ProfitX. One of the plays that I really like this week, especially with the Eagles, is I like the Eagles minus 3.5. The Eagles are minus 3.5 on ProfitX. I'm taking that. I'm taking it because I think they're going to win by 7 points at least. I think this is going to be the best game of the year for the Eagles. I think it's going to be their best offensive performance, and I think they're itching to beat the Buccaneers. I think the Eagles are going to pull this out, win this game, and if you like this, you could go to ProfitX, get $200 in ProfitX cash. Just use promo code Philly500. That's ProfitX, promo code Philly500. Get $200 in ProfitX cash. Shout out to ProfitX. All right, so shout out to ProfitX for sponsoring today's video. We really appreciate it so very much. Now, let me say this. I think that getting a pass rusher is now a priority. Okay, we talked about cornerback before. We've talked even about C.J. Gardner-Johnson, which, I don't think they're going to do it, but if they did, that would have no effect on whether you go out and get a pass rusher or somebody like that. Now, who can you go out and get? That's the question. We know that the Eagles tried to trade for Micah Parsons, right, earlier in the year. We know that. We do know that Travon Walker could be a guy who the Eagles could look to get. We want Jacksonville to lose, but Travon Walker right now would be my number one target. If I'm the Eagles, I go after Travon Walker. I pursue him, I offer a first-round pick, and I try to get him in there. That would provide an upgrade to what you already had, okay? It would give you enough, in my opinion, and then eventually Nolan Smith comes back and he can work in on that rotation. Another guy to keep an eye on. Now, I don't know if the Giants would do this, but they're going to be out of it pretty quick. And Kayvon Thibodeaux, his contract's coming up, and with Abdul Carter and then with Burns, I don't know that they're going to be able to keep him. He is a guy who could be on the trade block. And if you're the Eagles, I know the Giants probably don't want to say the last team they want to trade with would be the Philadelphia Eagles. But if you give them an offer they can't refuse, if you pay a little bit extra, then maybe they take it. I would not be, and I've always said this, I'm not afraid to trade within the division. However, I do think you got to pay the freight. So if a team, let's say, wants to trade with me, let's say the Cowboys want a player off us or Washington. Well, if they want that guy, they got to pay extra. That's how I feel. So if the Eagles have to pay extra, you have the draft picks to do it. Come here, little guy. Say hi. Hi. So, that could be the case. But the Eagles, I think it is necessary to figure out and get a pass rusher in there. Now, will the Eagles look at the free agency? Will they look at teams practice? I don't know. But I think you need to go out and add a pass rusher. It's not enough with what you have at the edge. Now, like I said, they'll move Jihad Campbell. We could possibly see that, And as far as Nolan Smith goes, here's what you have to wonder. Here's a guy that's banged up yet again, hurt again. I think Nolan Smith has a world of talent. I thought he was going to have a breakout year this year. His contract extension, he's eligible also, just like Jalen Carter is eligible for a contract extension at the end of the year. The question is, will this injury, will the slow start to, will it hurt him get a contract extension? Will the Eagles just go ahead and pick up his option year and let him prove it? Is he enough to be the edge rusher long term? These are all legitimate questions that we have to ask ourselves. I think Nolan Smith can play, but he's got to be healthy. And that's been his problem so far. Just like Dean, when he plays, he's pretty good. And I don't think he's looked right. I'm just saying, I don't think Nolan Smith has looked right this year. He hasn't looked healthy to me. Now he's injured again. This is not good. This is not good for the Eagles, and it's not good for that's the one position I felt that needs to really get it going more than anything. Like the offense, I know that they're going to get it going. I know they're going to get it fixed. But when you look at the defensive side, okay, yeah, you have issues at the cornerback too. I feel like they can figure that out and mask it. But can they produce at the edge? That's the question. And so far, we've only seen 3 sacks all year. So that's going to be something that they're going to have to answer. But in the meantime, before you go out and you get worrying about getting another cornerback, you got to get a pass rusher. They've got to go out and get another pass rusher. Now, they signed Zadarius Smith. That's great. I would try to go attempt and get Travon Walker. I think I would offer a first-round pick, and I'd bring him in. But, Howie's going to have to figure that out. But, yeah, not great news. Going into this week versus Tampa, you want to beat the crap out of Tampa. It's a very important game. And now we're going to be short at the edge rusher. We're going to see what they're going to do. I really wonder if Jihad Campbell will be moved or will start getting more snaps at edge. And the Eagles are going to have to continue dialing up the blitz. This has been one of Vic Fangio's highest rated blitz years so far. He usually doesn't like to blitz this much, but he's had no choice because you're not getting enough off the edge. So let's see what the Eagles do. With that said, I will be streaming tomorrow night's game. Look for that. Take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's Howie Vision. We're all just living in it. Get ready for some Howie Vision now. So here's my little princess. That's what I've been calling her so far. She is the sweetest thing. This kitten, every time she's tired, she comes to my foot and just sits on there. And she wants me to hold her. Then she'll literally sleep 3-4 hours like in my arms, just like this. She loves this. This is like the most adorable cat. I don't know how I'm going to give this cat up. I just don't. I might have to keep her too. But I can't keep any more cats. It's crazy. Denzel Washington out. That's all, folks.
The brother screwed us.